Hello friends, my name is Dixita, and today I talk about you the power of your subconscious mind book. And this book is point is master technique for overcoming any particular fear. The following is the process and technique for overcoming fear, which I teach from the platform. It works like a charm. Try it. Suppose you are afraid of the water, a mountain, an interview, an audition, or you fear closed places. If you are afraid of swimming, begin now to sit still for 5 or 10 minutes, 3 or 4 times a day, and imagine you are swimming. Actually, you are swimming in your mind. It is subjective experience. Mentally, you have projected yourself into the water. You feel the chill of the water and the movement of your arms and legs. It is all real, vivid, and a joyous activity of the mind. It is not ideal daydreaming, for you know that what you are experiencing in your imagination will be developed in your subconscious mind. Then you will be compelled to express the image and likeness of the picture you impressed on your deeper mind. This is the law of the subconscious. You could apply this same technique if you are afraid of mountains or high places. Imagine you are climbing the mountain. Feel the reality of it all. Enjoy the scenery, knowing that as you continue to do this mentally, you will do it physically with ease and comfort. He blessed the elevator. I knew an executive of a large corporation who was terrified to ride in an elevator. He would walk up 5 flights of stairs to his office every morning. He said that he began to bless the elevator every night and several times a day. He finally overcome his fear. This was how he blessed the elevator. The elevator in our building is a wonderful idea. It comes out of the universal mind. It is a boon and a blessing to all our employees. It gives wonderful services. It operates in divine order. I ride in it in peace and joy. I remain silent now, while the currents of life, love, and understanding flow through the patterns of my thought in my imagination. I am now in the elevator and I step out into my office. The elevator is full of our employees. I talk to them and they are friendly, joyous, and free. It is a wonderful experience of freedom, faith, and confidence. I give thanks. He continued this prayer for about 10 days, and on the 11th day, he walked into the elevator with other members of the organization and felt completely free. Next point is normal and abnormal fear. Man is born only with two fears, the fear of falling and the fear of noise. These are an alarm system given you by nature as a means of self-preservation. Normal fear is good. You hear an automobile coming down the road and you step aside to survive. The momentary fear of being run over is overcome by your action. All other fears were given to you by parents, relatives, teachers, and all those who influences your early years. Abnormal fear. Abnormal fear takes place when man lets his imagination run riot. I knew a woman who was invited to go on a trip around the world by plane. She began to cut out of the newspaper all reports or of airplane, castle drops. She pictured herself going down in the ocean, being drowned, etc. This is abnormal fear. Had she persisted in this, she would undoubtedly have attracted what she feared most. Another example of abnormal fear is that of a businessman in New York who was very prosperous and successful. He had his own private mental motion picture of which he was the director. He would run this mental movie of failure, bankruptcy, empty shelves, and no bank balance until he sank into a deep depression. He refused to stop bank balance until he sank into a deep depression. He refused to stop this morality imagery and kept reminding his wife that this can't last, there will be a recession. I feel sure we will go bankrupt, etc. His wife told me that he finally did go into bankruptcy, and all the things he imagined and feared came to pass. The things he feared did not exist, but he brought them to pass by constantly fearing, believing, and expecting financial disaster. Job said, and the things I feared has come upon me. There are people who are afraid that something terrible will happen to their children and that some dread catastrophe will befall them. When they read about an epidemic or a rare disease, they live in fear that they will catch it, and some imagine they have the disease already. All this is the abnormal fear. Next point is the answer to abnormal fear. Move mentally to the opposite. To stay at the extreme of fear is stagnation plus mental and physical deterioration. When fear arises, there immediately comes with it a desire for something opposite to the thing feared. Place your attention on the things immediately desired. Get absorbed and engrossed in your desire, knowing that the subjective always overturns the objective. This attitude will give you confidence and lift your spirits. The infinite power of your subconscious mind is moving on your behalf and it cannot fail. Therefore, peace and assurance are yours. Next point is examine your fears. The president of a large organization told me that when he was the salesman, he used to walk around the block 5 or 6 times before he called on a customer. The sales manager came along one day and said to him, "Don't be afraid of the boogeyman behind the door. There is no boogeyman. It is a false belief." The manager told him that whenever he looked at his own fear, he started them in the face and stood up to them, looking them straight in the eyes. Then they faded and shrank into insignificance. Next point is he landed in the jungle. A chaplain told me of his experience in the Second World War. He had to purchase from a damaged plane and land in the jungle. He said he was frightened, but he knew there were two kinds of fear, normal and abnormal, which we have previously pointed out. He decided to do something about the fear immediately and began to talk to himself, saying, "John, you can't surrender to your fear. Your fear is a desire for safety and security and a way out." He began to claim infinite intelligence which guides the planets in their courses is now leading and guiding me out of this jungle. He kept saying this out loud to himself for 10 minutes or more. Then he added something began to stir inside me. A mood of confidence began to seize me, and I began to walk. After a few days, I miraculously came out of the jungle and was picked up by a rescue plane. His changed mental attitude saved him. His confidence and trust in the subjective wisdom and power within him was the solution of his problem. He said, "Had I begun to bemoan my fate and indulge my fears, I would have succumbed to the monster fear and probably would have died of fear and starvation." Next point is he dismissed himself. The general manager of an organization told me that for 3 years he feared he would lose his position. He was always imagining failure. The thing he feared did not exist, save as the morbid anxious. Thought in his own mind. His vivid imagination dramatized the loss of his job until he became nervous and neurotic. Finally, he was asked to resign. Actually, he dismissed himself. His constant negative imaginary and fear suggestion to his subconscious mind caused the latter to respond and react accordingly. It caused him to make mistakes and foolish decisions which resulted in his failure as a general manager. His dismissal would never have happened if he had immediately moved to the opposite in his mind. They plotted against him. During a recent world lecture tour, I had a 2-hour conversation with a prominent government official. He had a deep sense of inner peace and serenity. He said that all the abuse he received politically from newspapers and the opposition party never disturbs him. His practice is to sit still for 15 minutes in the morning and realize that in the center of him is a deep, still ocean of peace. Meditating in this way, he generates tremendous power, which overcomes all manner of difficulties and fears. Sometime previously, colleagues called him at midnight and told him a group of people were plotting against him. This is what he said to his colleagues: "I am going to sleep now in perfect peace. You can discuss it with me at 10 a.m. tomorrow." He said to me, "I know that no negative thoughts can ever manifest except I am emotionalize the thoughts and accept it mentally. I refuse to entertain the suggestion of fear. Therefore, no harm can come to me." Notice how calm he was, how cool, how peaceful. How peaceful. He did not start getting excited, tearing his hair, or wringing his hands. At his center, he found the still water and inner peace, and there was a great calm. Next point is deliver yourself from all your fears. Use this perfect formula for casting out fear. I sought the Lord, and he heard me, and delivered me from all my fears. The Lord is an excellent word, meaning law, the power of your subconscious mind. Learn the wonders of your subconscious and how it works and functions. Master the techniques given to you in this chapter. Put them into practice now, today. Your subconscious will respond and you will be free of all fears. I sought the Lord, and he heard me and delivered me from all my fears. Next step this way to freedom from fear. First is do the things you are afraid to do, and the death of fear is certain. Say to yourself and mean it, "I am going to master this fear," and you will. Fear is the negative thoughts in your mind. Supplement it with a constructive thought. Fear has killed millions. Confidence is greater than fear. Nothing is more powerful than faith in God and the good. Second is fear is man's greatest enemy. It is behind failure, sickness, and bad human relations. Love casts out fear. Love is an emotional attachment to the good things of life. Fall in love with honesty, integrity, justice, goodwill, and success. Live in the joyous expectancy of the best, and invariably the best will come to you. Third is counteract the fear suggestion with the opposite, such as "I sing beautiful," "I am poised, serene, and calm." It will pay fabulous dividends. Fourth is fear is behind amnesia at oral and written examination time. You can overcome this by affirmation frequently. "I have a perfect memory for everything I need to know." Or you can imagine a friend congratulating you on your brilliant success on the examination. Preserve and you will win. Fifth is if you are afraid to cross water, swim in your imagination, swim freely, joyously, project yourself into the water mentally, feel the chill and thrill of swimming across the pool. Make it vivid. As you do this subjectively, you will be compelled to go into the water and conquer it. This is the law of your mind. Sixth is, if you are afraid of closest places, such as elevator, lecturer, halls, halls, etc., mentally ride in an elevator blessing all its parts and functions. You will be amazed how quickly the fear will be dissipated. Seventh is, you were born with only two fears, the fear of falling and the fear of noisy. All your other fears were acquired. Get rid of them. Eighth is, normal fear is good. Abnormal fear is very bad and destructive. To constantly indulge in fear thoughts result in abnormal fear, obsession and complexes. To fear something persistently causes a sense of panic and terror. Ninth is, you can overcome abnormal fear when you know the power of your subconscious mind can change conditions and bring to pass the desire of your heart. Give your immediate attention and devotion to your desire, which is the opposite of your fear. This is the love that casts out fear. Tenth is, if you are afraid of failure, give attention to success. If you are afraid of sickness, dwell on your perfect health. If you are afraid of an accident, dwell on the guidance and protection of God. If you are afraid of death, dwell on eternal life. God is life and that is your life now. 11th is, the great law of substitution is the answer to fear. Whatever you fear has its solution in the form of your desire. If you are sick, you desire health. If you are in the prison of fear, you desire freedom. Expect the good. Mentally concentrate on the good. And know that your subconscious mind answers you always. It never fails. 12th is, the things you fear do not really exist except as thoughts in your mind. Thoughts are creative. This is why Job said, the things I feared has come upon me. Think good and good follows. 13 is, look at your fears. Hold them up to the light of reason. Learn to laugh at your fear. That is the best medicine. 14 is, nothing can disturb you but your own thought. The suggestions, statements, or threats of other persons have no power. The power is within you, and when your thoughts are focused on that which is good, then God's power is with your thoughts of God. There is only one creative power, and it moves as harmony. There are no division of quarrels in it. Its source is love. This is why God's power is with your thoughts of good. Today's next chapter is how to stay young in spirit forever. Your subconscious mind never grows old. It is timeless, ageless, and endless. It is the part of the universal mind of God, which was never born and it will never die. Fatigue or old age cannot be predicted on any spiritual quality or power. Patience, kindness, veracity, humility, goodwill, peace, harmony, and brotherly love are attributes and qualities which never grow old. If you continue to generate these qualities here on this plane of life, you will always remain young in spirit. I remember reading an article in one of our magazines some years ago, which started that a group of eminent medical men at the Dixita clinic in Cincinnati, Ohio, reported that years alone are not responsible for bringing about degenerative disorders. These same physicians stated that it is the fear of time, not time itself, that has a harmful aging effect on our minds and bodies, and that the neurotic fear of the effects of time may well be the cause of premature aging. During the many years of my public life, I have had occasion to study the biography of the famous men and women who have continued their productive activities into the years well beyond the normal span of life. Some of them achieved their greatness in old age, At the same time, it has been my privilege to meet and to know countless individuals of no prominence who, in the leisure space, belonged to those hardy mortals who have proved that old age of its does not destroy the creative powers of the mind and body. Next point is he had grown old in his thoughts life. A few years ago, I called on an old friend in London, England. He was over 80 years of age, very ill, and obviously was yielding to his advancing years. Our conversation, our conversation revealed his physical weakness, his sin, sin, sense of frustration, and a general deterioration, almost approaching lifelessness. His cry was that he was useless and that no one wanted him. With an expression of hopelessness, he betrayed his false philosophy. We are born, grow up, become old, good for nothing, and that's the end. This is mental attitude of full fertility and worthlessness was the chief reason of his sickness. He was looking forward only to sense sins, and after that nothing. Indeed, he had grown old in his thought life, and his subconscious mind brought about all the evidence of his habitual thinking. Next point is, is the dawn of wisdom. Unfortunately, many people have the same attitude as this unhappy man. They are afraid of what they term old age the end and exhaustion, which really means that they are afraid of life. Yet, life is endless. Age is not the flight of years, but the dawn of wisdoms. Wisdom is an awareness of the tremendous spiritual powers in your subconscious mind and the knowledge of how to apply these powers to lead a full and happy life. Get it out of your head once and for all that 65, 75 or 85 years of age in synonyms with the end of you or anybody else. It can be the beginning of a glorious, fruitful, active and most productive life pattern, better than you have ever experienced. Believe this, accept it, and your subconscious will bring it to pass. Next point is welcome the change. Old age is not a tragic occurrence. What we call the aging process too is really change. It is to be welcomed, joyful and gladly as each phases of human life is a step forward on the path which has no end. Man has powers which transcend his bodily power. He has sense which transcend his five physical senses. Scientists today are finding positive insulated table evidence that something conscious in man can leave his present body and travel thousands of miles to see, hear, touch and speak to people even though his physical body never leaves the couch on which is resilience. Man's life is spiritual and eternal. He need never grow old for life or God cannot grow old. The Bible says that God is life. Life is self-renewing, eternal, indestructible, and is the reality of all men. Next point is evidence for survival. The evidence gathered by the physical research societies, both in Great Britain and America, is overwhelming. You may go into my large metropolitan library and get volumes on the proceeding of the Physical Research Society based on finding of distinguished scientists on survival following so-called death. You will find a startling report on scientific experiments establishing the reality of life after death in the case for survival by Harvard Clinton, director of the American Physical Institute. Next point is life is. A woman asked Thomas Edison, the electrical wizard, Mr. Edison, what is electricity? He replied, Madam, electricity is use it. Electricity is the name We give an invisible power which we do not fully comprehend, but we learn all we can about the principle of electricity and its use. We use it in countless ways. The scientist cannot see an electron with his eyes, yet he accepts it as a scientific fact because it is the only valid conclusion, which coincides with the other experimental evidence. We cannot see life, however, we know we are alive. Life is, and we are here to express it in all its beauty and glory. Next point is mind and spirit do not grow up old. The Bible says, and this is life eternal, that they might know the only true God. The man who thinks or believes that the eternal earthly cycle of birth, obsolescence, youth, maturity, and old age is all there is to life is indeed to be pitied. Such a man has no anchor, no hope, no vision, and to him life has no meaning. This type of belief brings frustration, stagnation, cynicism, and a sense of hopelessness, resulting in neurosis and mental exhaustion of all kinds. If you cannot play a fast games of tennis or swim as fast as your son, or if your body has slowed down or you walk with a slow step, remember life is always clothing itself anew. What men call death is but a journey to a new city in anchor demonstration of life. I say to men and women in my lectures that they should accept what we call old age gracefully. Age has its own glory, beauty, and wisdom, which belongs to it. Peace, love, joy, beauty, happiness, wisdom, goodwill, and understanding are qualities which never grow older or die. Ralph Waldo Emerson, poet and philosopher, said, "We do not count a man's years until he has nothing else to count. Your character, the quality of your mind, your faith, and your conviction are not subject to decay." Next point is, you are as young as you think you are. I give public lectures in Kensington Hall, London, England, every few years, and following one of these lecturers, a surgeon said to me, "I am 84 years of age. I operate every morning, visit patients in the afternoons, and I write for medical and other scientific journals in the evening." His attitude was that he was as useful as he believed himself to be, and that he was as young as his thoughts. He said to me, "It's true what you say. Man is as strong as he thinks he is, and as valuable as he thinks he is." This surgeon has not surrounded to advancing years. He knows that he is immortal. His final comments to me was, "If I should pass on tomorrow, I would be operating on people in the next dimensions, not with a surgeon's scalp, but with mental and spiritual surgery." Next point is, your grey hairs are an asset. Don't ever quit a job and say, "I am retired, I am old, I am finished." That would be stagnation, death, and you would be finished. Some men are old at 30, while others are young at 80. The mind is the master wave, the architect and the designer and the sculptor. George Bernard Shaw was active at 90, and the artist quality of his mind had not relaxed from activity. I meet men and women who tell me that some employees almost slam the door in their face when they say they are over 40. This attitude on the part of the employers is to be considered cold, callous, evil, and completely void of compassion and understanding. The total emphasis seems to be on youth. Therefore, you must be under 35 years of age to receive considerations. The reasoning behind this is certainly very shallow. If the employer would stop and think, he would realize that the man or woman was not selling his age or grey hair. Rather, he was willing to give of his talents, his experience, and his wisdom gathered through years of experience in the marketplaces of life. Next point is age is an asset. Your age should be a distinct asset to any organization because of your practice and application through the years of the principle of the golden rule and the law of love and goodwill. You grey hair, if you have any, should stand for greater wisdom, skill, and understanding. Your emotional and spiritual maturity should be a tremendous blessing to any organization. A man should not be asked to resign when he is 65 years of age. That is the time of life when he could be most useful in handling personal problems, making plans for the future, making decisions and guiding others in the realm of creative ideas based on his experience and insight into the nature of the business. Today's next point is be your age. A motion picture writer in Hollywood told me that he had to write scripts which would cater to the 12 years old mind. This is the tragic state of affairs if the great masses of people are expected to become emotionally and spiritually mature. It means that the emphasis is placed on youth in spite of the fact that youth stands for inexperience, lack of discriminants, and hasty judgment. Next point is I can keep up with the best of them. I am now thinking of a man 65 years of age who is trying fric- uh, fric- fractional, frantically to keep young. He swims with young men every Sunday, goes on long hikes, play tennis, and boast of his powers and physical powers, saying, "Look, I can keep up with the best of them." He should remember the great truth: "As the man thinketh in his heart, so is he." Diets, exercise, and games of all kinds will not keep this man young. It is necessary for him to observe that he grows old or remains young in accordance with his process of thinking. Your subconscious mind is conditioned by your thoughts. If your thoughts are constantly on the beautiful, the noble, and the good, you will remain your regardless of the chronological years. Next point is fear of old age. Job said, "The thing which I greatly feared is come upon me." There are many people who fear old age and are uncertain about the future because they anticipate mental physical deterioration as the years advance. What they think and feel comes to pass. You grow old when you lose interest in life, when you cease to dream, to hunger after new truth, and to search for new worlds to conquer. When your mind is open to new ideas, new interests, and when you raise the curtain and let in the sunshine and inspiration of new truths of life and the universe, you will be young and vital. Next point is you have much to give. If you are 65 or 85 years of age, realize you have much to give. You can help stabilize, advise, and direct the younger generation. You can give the benefit of your knowledge, your experience, and your wisdom. You can always look ahead, for at all times you are gazing into infinite life. You will find that you can never cease to unveil the glories and wonders of life. Try to learn something new every moment of the day, and you will find your mind will always be young. Next point is 110 years ago old. Some years ago, while lecturing in Bombay, India. Some years ago, while lecturing in Bombay, India, I was introduced to a man who said he was 110 years old. He had the most beautiful face I have ever seen. He seemed transfigured by the radiance of an inner light. There was a rare beauty in his eyes, indicating he had grown old in years with gladness, and with no indication that his mind had dimmed its lights. Next point is retirement is the new ventures. Be sure that your mind never retires. It must be like a parachute, which, which is no good unless it opens up. Be openly receptive to new ideas. I have seen men of 65 and 70 retires. They seem to rot away, and in a few months passed on. They obviously felt that life was at an end. Retirement can be a new venture, a new challenge, a new path, the beginning of the fulfillment of a long dream. It is inexpressibly distressing to hear a man say, "What shall I do now that I am retired?" He is saying, in effect, "I am mentally and physically dead. My mind is bankrupt of ideas." All this is a false picture. The real truth is that you can accomplish more at 90 than you did at 60, because each day you are growing in wisdom and understanding of life and the universe through your new studies and interest. Next point is he graduated to better job. An executive who lives near me was forced to retire a few months ago because he had reached the age of 65. He said to me, "I look upon my retirement as promotion from kindergarten to the first grade." He philosophies in this manner. He said that when he left high school, he went up the ladder by going to college. He realized this was a step forward in his education and understanding of life in general. Likewise, he added, now he could do the things he had always wanted to do, and therefore his retirement was still another step forward on the ladder of life and wisdom. He came to the wise conclusion that he was no longer going to concentrate on making a living. Now, he was going to give all his attention to living life. He is an amateur photographer, and he took additional courses on the subject. He took a trip around the world and took movies of famous places. He now lectures before various groups, lodges, and clubs, and it is in popular demand. There are countless ways of taking an interest in something worthwhile outside yourself. Become enthusiastic over new creative ideas, make spiritual progress, and continue to learn and to grow. In this manner, you remain young in heart because you are hungering and thirsting after new truths, and your body will reflect your thinking. Next point, thinking at all times. Next point is you must be a producer and not a prisoner of society. The newspaper are taking cognizance of the fact that the voting population of the elderly in California elections is increasing by leaps and bounds. This means that their voices will be heard in the legislature of the state and also in the halls of Congress. I believe there will be enacted a federal law prohibiting employers from discrimination against men and women because of age. A man of 65 years may be younger mentally, physically, and psychologically than many men at 30. It is stupid and ridiculous to tell a man he cannot be hired because he is over 40. It is like saying to him that he is ready for the scrap heap or the junk pile. What is a man of 40 or over to do? Must be bury his talent and hide his light under a bushel. Men who are deprived and prevented from working because of age must be sustained by government treasuries at country, state, and federal levels. The many organizations who refuse to hire them and benefit from their wisdom and experience will be taxed to support them. This is the form of financial suicide. Man is here to enjoy the fruit of his labor, and he is here to be a producer and not a prisoner of society, which compels him to idleness, idleness. Man's body slows down gradually as he advances throughout the years, but his conscious mind can be made much more active, alert, alive, and quickened by the inspiration from his subconscious mind. His mind, in reality, never grows old. Job said, "Oh, that I were as in months past, as in the days when God preserved me, when his candle shine upon my head, and when by his light I walked through darkness, as I was in the day of my youth, when the secret of God was upon my tabernacles." Next point is secret of youth. The recapture the days of your youth. Feel the miraculous healing, self-renewing power of your subconscious mind moving through your whole being. Know and feel that you are inspired, lifted up, rejoiced, revitalized, and recharged spiritually. You can bubble over with enthusiasm and joy as in the days of your youth, for the simple reason that you can always mentally and emotionally recapture and the joyous state. The candle which shine upon your head is divine intelligence and reveals to you everything you need to know. It enables you to affirm the presence of your good, regardless of appearances. You walk by the guidance of your subconscious mind because you know that the down appears and the shadow flee away. Next point is get a vision. Instead of saying I am old, say I am old. Say I am wise in the way of the divine life. Don't let the cooperation, newspaper, or statics hold the picture before you of old age. Decline years, decrepitude, senility, and uselessness. Reject it, for it is a lie. Refuse to be hypnotized by such a propaganda. Affirm life, not death. Get a vision of yourself as happy, radiant, successful, serene, and powerful. Next point is your mind does not grow old. Former President Herbert Hoover, now 88 years old, it is very active and is performing monumental work. I interviewed him a few years ago in his suite at the Welfare Astoria, New York City. I found him healthy, happy, vegetarian, and full of life and enthusiasm. He was keeping several secretaries busy handling his correspondence and was himself writing books of a political and historical nature. Like all great men, I found him affordable, genial, amiable, loving, and most understanding. His mental acumen and sagacity gave me the thrill of a lifetime. He is a deeply religious man and is full of faith in God. In the triumph of the eternal truth of life, he was subjected to a barrage of criticism and condemnation in the years of the Great Depression. But he weathered the storm and did not grow old in hearted resentment, ill will, and bitterness. On the contrary, he went into the silence of his soul and communing with the divine presence within him. He found the peace which is the power at the heart of God. The next point is his mind active at 99. My father learned the French language at 65 years of age and became an authority on it at 70. He made a study of Gaelic when he was over 60 and became a knowledge and famous teacher of the subject. He assisted my sister in a school of higher learning and continued to do so until he passed away at 99. His mind was as clear at 99 as it was when he was 20. Moreover, his handwriting and his reasoning power had improved with age. Truly, you are so old. You are as old as you think and feel. Next point is we need our senior citizens. Marcus Porcius Cato, the Roman patriot, learned Greek at 18. Madame Aristarchus Comneni, the great German-American contralto, reached the pinnacle of her musical success after they became a grandmother. It is wonderful to behold the accomplishment of the oldsters. General Douglas MacArthur, Harry Strummer, General David Eisenhower, and American financier Brunt are interesting, active, and contributing their talents and wisdom to the world. The Greek philosopher Socrates learned to play musical instruments when he was 80 years old. Michelangelo was painting his greatest canvases at 80. At 80, Cyrus Semirais won the prize for poetry, Johannes von Goethe finished first, and Leopold von Rank commenced his history of the world, which he finished at 92. Alfred Tennyson wrote a magnificent poem, Crossing the Bar, at 83. Isaac Newton was hard at work close to 85. At 88, John Wesley was directing, preaching, and guiding Methodism. We have several men of 95 years who came to my lectures and they tell me they are in better health now than they were at 20. Let us place our senior citizens in high places and give them every opportunity to bring forth the flower of paradise. If you are retired, get interested in the laws of life and the wonders of your subconscious mind. Do some things you have always wanted to do. Study new subjects and investigate new ideas. Pray as follows. Is the heart panteth after the water brooks, so panteth my soul after thee, O God. Next point is the fruits of old age. His flesh shall be fresher than a child's. He shall return to the days of his youth. Old age really means the contemplations of the truth of God from the highest standpoints. Realize that you are on an endless journey, a series of important steps in the ceaseless, tireless, endless ocean of life. Then with the pessimist you will say, they shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall be fast and flourishing. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. You are a son of infinite life, which knows no end, and you are a child of eternity. Thank you.